Let me see if my iPad has any.
Yeah.
Does it have power? No, it does not. Nino says.
Oh, that's good. It's like healing. We should probably just do like a wee preamble at this. We should probably just do like a wee preamble at the start.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the podcast that doesn't have a name.
Doctor Who cast.
A Doctor Who podcast.
Yeah.
That's what the social media accounts that I made for this.
That's fine.
A
There's probably not another. I mean, there might be, but
The one that's just called A Doctor
a
Who
Doctor
podcast.
Who podcast.
We should call it that, but like all one word, like A Doctor Who podcast.
Yeah.
Aye, so this week on A Doctor Who podcast, we're doing Deamons of the Punjab,
Yeah.
which we'll get to. We'll definitely get to, because I wanted to start with like news,
News.
because that seems like
Well, it was
pro
some
people
news
would
today. We alluded to this in sort of a couple of weeks ago that there would be no Christmas special
there'd be no Christmas special this year.
this year, and the BBC has officially confirmed that there will be a New Year's Day episode. So we will not be seeing more Doctor Who until 2019.
I'm glad that you were keeping your eye on this, because I didn't see that today, and I haven't seen anything about Doctor Who other than the cover for the Doctor Who magazine for this month. And I was surprised because I still thought it was the Bradders cover. And this month it's Yaz that's on the cover.
Fair play.
Yeah. I still don't know how to feel about the Christmas Day thing, because like
It's fine, but like
it's a
the
breaking
thing that annoys
tradition.
me about it is Chibnall hasn't even given it one shot.
Yeah.
Like, is he honestly saying he can't come up with a Christmas idea? Like,
Well,
is that
see,
what he's saying?
I think the general consensus from Russell T and Moffat is that the Christmas episode is kind of poison, because they really don't really want to write one every year,
Yeah,
and they
right.
really don't want, like, maybe they want to write one, but like one every year as a requirement.
You
The
have
impression
to
that I
write it.
get, yeah, and you have to include Christmas in some way. I mean, have you seen the Narnia one? Like, that was probably the limit
they
of like.
include Christmas to varying degrees. Let's
Yes,
say.
there's because there's those ones that I forgot were Christmas specials, because they're just not Christmas specials, like
Yeah.
the Matt Smith last one. I
Yeah.
think,
Although there is snow in that episode.
and the planet is called Christmas, or
Yeah.
the town's called Christmas, or whatever. I didn't like that at all at the time, which is like, well, didn't click with me.
There's a lot
And-
of good stuff in that episode. but-
Aye, and like I feel like Clara's having Christmas dinner, and like a lot of the stuff that was happening in that Christmas dinner kind of felt Russell T and stuff. You remember? She had
Yeah.
like an old nan that was basically saying the plot of the episode and being like, "No, you should go get the
The
doctor
Kraken
over."
Hall reappears though.
Yeah, and then the Time Lord's Huck.
Yeah,
You-
Huck having
that's
more regens,
just
right?
like grenade tossed, yeet some regenerations at the doc, and the doc's just like, "A new
Yeah.
regeneration cycle. I know what this is," you know.
And then, presumably because it was a new regeneration cycle, he gets the awesome fast regeneration.
Fast regeneration. Well, he gets a Kamehameha wave.
Yeah.
He Kamehamehas those Daleks, and then he gets to not regenerate for another 10 minutes while he like has a speech and takes off his bow tie,
Yeah.
and like
Then Amy Pond turns
Amy
up.
Pond turns up in that wig,
Wolf wig.
wig to wig. That was a great. Like, I don't know, like that's just kind of horrible that like Amy gets to turn up and have that big moment and like Clara's there. Like, it seems kind of weird. It's kind of like Clara doesn't really matter or have the same impact, or was an afterthought of her character, really.
There's always like one companion that's like
Aye, the big one.
inextricably assigned, like
Rose.
that's Rose
Yeah.
and Lieutenant.
Yeah. I
There's
feel
other
like
companions.
Martha gets away. Donna gets away from that,
Yeah.
because you had Martha to be the one that's like
The
the one that
forgotten
is overlooked, and then
Donna's
Donna's
just
fun.
like, yeah, Donna's fun and in between, and she doesn't fancy the dog.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a really bad watch, that third season, with the kind of, they call it the rebound companion arc.
Yeah.
It's not aged well. I don't know if it was good at the time, but a bit kind of cringy.
It depends how that works, because you get like Kalara, who's mixed to say the least.
Very hated. Just horrible.
I have seen some people who really.
I think that she's like.
Why, but.
She's like. Have you seen her Capaldi stuff? She's not a good person. Like, she's a teacher, and she's like horrible to her children, and like, she's just kind of one of the worst people.
And then that meant Bill was very, very well received.
Bill, I like Bill. Certain subsections of the world don't like Bill, but
Why racist?
racism.
Homophobic,
Racism's there. Yeah, and homophobic. I thought Bill was cool. And also Bill, I love Bill. I think it's a great template for companions. Because they should either just know what they're going to do with them at the end of their thing, or just do 1 year or one series things. Because you can kill Bill to death. And it's great. And I know she becomes a puddle god, but there's that shot where she has like nothing, like she gets shot and there's like nothing in her chest, and then she gets turned into a Cyberman.
I was reading some like racial criticism of Bill's, you know, how she gets turned into a Cyberman.
Yeah.
And there was like, people were like pointing out that like it wasn't cool for like a black woman to be like locked in a shed.
That's, yeah. Well, that whole locked in a shed thing's really weird, because that's done by the Doctor and the good guys. She's a scary, like, gimp-faced Cyberman monster, but she's a cool guy, and she'd proven that she'd been a cool guy. And, like, the whole, like, she's in that shed, and she has a whole, like, I don't realise I'm a Cyberman thing, and I find that really boring. But, like, it kind of had to do that.
The second part of that finale isn't as good, but it's still, it's still great. It's still a good two-parter overall.
I love the bit, like halfway in...
The first episode of those two is fantastic.
Yeah. There's the great bits. I can say this at the start, because I did this like an hour into the last one, but there will be spoilers, okay? People that haven't watched all of Capaldi's Who, or any of like Who in general, there will be spoilers for it. Bill gets turned into a Cyberman. That second episode also has the Master killing the Master, or the Master killing Missy and Missy killing the Master. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That feels like an idea that Moffat had like a decade ago and has been holding on to in his pocket for like a really rainy day.
Yeah, he's probably like, I'm taking over. I can't do the Master again because RTV just used it. So I'll just keep it in there.
But that specific, like, how did Johnson regenerate?
Yeah.
Well.
He also originally intended to quit the series before that, but he asked them to stay on another year. So
really? No, that's cool.
We had time to get another...
To get Chibnall. The blandest man in the world. I don't know. I feel quite, petty. Because you know how he appeared on that 80s show complaining about Colin Baker's Who?
Yeah.
And I feel like either one of him or one of the other nerds in that panel says it was like very standard Doctor Who. That's what he's been making. Every episode of Chibnall's Who is a standard episode of Doctor Who. Like, it's very like...
You only live long enough to become the thing.
Exactly. I mean, he became that thing quite early on. He did make Cyberwoman.
For a second.
I don't know. I want his writing to be more cozy. You know how like he did the Silurian episodes?
Yeah.
They were very cozy. Like sling them on a bank holiday. Just watch them on watch. They had a good time. But the rest of the stuff...
Yeah, like the Moffat presumably rewrote his scripts.
Aye, we don't know the extent to which the showrunner gets to do that or just does that and you don't really know.
Yeah. But
I'd like a percentage tally at the end of an episode being like 20% of this was like hacked apart to put the myth arc in or like character work.
I don't know, I guess it depends. Like if it's not like a huge amount of myth arc, they can probably just say you need things with this scene.
I imagine they just delegate
But
it.
if it's like a major scene then there's probably like you might even get to like write the initial draft of it, but then Moffat's gonna come in and hack it.
Well, Moffat wrote the 11th first scene, didn't he? The End of Time Part 2. So stuff like that.
Aye.
It's very like
Chibnall wrote Jodie Whittaker's first scene.
It's good for us type of nerds that are sitting here like talking in depth about an episode, so we can say this horrible line was written by Chibnall, or like the writer he hired.
If we get into this week's episode, the dialogue in this week's episode was a lot better.
It was actually.
There was still some bad parts, like Bradley. I was going to say Bradley Wiggins.
Wiggins. I want to talk about this news though, because like there's not going to be a Christmas special, and I don't know how I feel. Like, well, I'll just talk to my family on Christmas Day, but instead of being like,
what's going to take Doctor Who's slot?
Mrs. Brown's Boys. Like,
That's normally a late night raunchy slot.
is it like?
Sorry,
Isn't it like
yeah.
7 o'clock at night or
Nah,
like?
it's more like 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like it's after, like, because EastEnders is on at like, what, 9 usually?
I don't know
It's after
TV. I don't know what's current and hot. Like.
Well, that's the weird thing about, like, the BBC used to have, like, different shows every year.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, the past 5-6 years, like, BBC One on Christmas Day has been exactly the same schedule. It's been, like, Strictly Come Dancing, Doctor Who, sometimes we would swap them about. Then, like, EastEnders, Mrs. Brown's Boys, then, like, a comedy special there. Christmas TV is not, like, the magical
1970s
thing.
Morecambe and Wise
40 million
thing.
viewers. That used to be, but, you know.
Doctor Who has the potential to make that happen, though.
Yeah.
Like a regeneration on Christmas Day, other than Capaldi's regeneration, will probably bring in, you know, some amount of viewers. I think it's weird if it's just to do Daleks, though, so they can. I don't even know if they said they're not doing, because we've talked about this back and forth how they're saying like no old monsters, no recurring things this year, but then they get to still do it on New Year's Day. Like that's such a petty, dumb, and brilliant thing that I'm accepting of it. Like I do a New Year's Day thing, and it seems like because they won on Sunday. Like Sunday is getting better viewers, and like it doesn't feel the same. But they're already doing it in the winter, so it doesn't feel the same anyway. And I know like Capaldi's stuff.
I tend to realise it's just not the same on Sundays. Like it's fine, but
it's weird.
I like being off the next day.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be sitting
immediately back at work.
I don't want to be sitting watching Doctor Who having in the back of my mind it's Sunday night. Like it's just not a good vibe. It's a bad vibe. It's a buzzkill.
You need a recovery Monday. Like you need the Monday off to just like chill and think about the implications of the episode.
I was gonna say, do you remember? I totally forgot about this. But the Waters of Mars aired on a Sunday.
Did it? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did it? What bank holiday or thingy?
It wasn't even a bank holiday. It was just like in November. It was like this time of year. It was like the third special.
Yeah, it was the one after.
So it was like a month until the end of time. But they just put it on.
It was the second special.
It was the second special.
Yeah, because the other two are too far.
The other two are too far.
Yeah, I think those specials really. See if there was like one other special in there. I feel like those specials would feel more special.
Yeah.
Because you'd have your dumb, quite bad Planet of the Dead, but that's fine because it's the first one.
Planet of the Dead is quite bad. Waters of Mars is amazing.
Waters of Mars is a banger.
Anytime Part 1 is really, really good, and then Anytime Part 2 is...
I've not watched it in a while, and I've heard people defend Part 2 more than Part 1.
Huh.
Yeah. I just remember the cactus people and like the ship.
Part 1 does have that whole master race thing.
The master race. Part 2 has a lot of that as well. Part 1 builds to the master race. The master race is like...
Is that the cliffhanger?
That's the cliffhanger, I want to say. It's such a misuse of the master, because he, like, why would he want to be everyone instead of dominate everyone? I feel like that plot's been redone in Big Finish recently to like edit it to that, like him dominating instead of him just being the folk. Because like then he's in charge of himself, but then all the other little masters are like, it's fine, we'll delegate to like the actual master and he's wee Hoodie. Like,
oh yeah, Hoodie, and they had that really horrible like
CGI skull, and like he had lightning powers that used to like electro jump about the place.
Yeah, you could tell RTD had been watching Heroes.
Aye.
Although Heroes
in 2010,
Heroes was dead by then.
So. When did Heroes end? Because 2007. Because I know it was 2006, but I feel like 2007 was the height.
2006 was Prime Heroes. 2007 is when they had season 2, which wasn't well received. And then so season 3 would have been like 2008, 2009. So I guess if he was writing and making Heroes season 3, which was a hell of a time, let's just say.
I have seen all of Heroes apart from the new season, the Heroes Reborn.
Yeah. I
quite liked Heroes. I quite liked all of Bad Heroes post season 1. Like, have you seen the last episode of... I say the last episode, but the last episode of the actual series. Like, it involves, like, a Ferris wheel, and, like, Sylar turns good.
Jumps off of it.
Yeah, and shows the world that heroes exist, or heroes, but, like, meta-humans. And then Sylar's good in the last episode, even though he's been going back and forth every episode. Like, I could go back and rewatch Heroes, like. I could at least attempt it. Malcolm McDowell. That's our off season. Once Doctor Who ends, we just go through all of Heroes. I would 100% do an off season podcast of Primeval. I bought season 1 of Primeval in Kex the other month from Cumbernauld I went in and I was like, I would like Primeval, please.
Primeval very much was ITV. We need to get some.
They were scrambling because they're like, oh wow, this Christopher Eccleston show is really bringing in the viewers on a Saturday night. We can do that. What are the kids like? Dinosaurs.
Hannah from S Club.
Hannah from S Club. Oblivion is in the first episode. Like the geek guy is playing Oblivion. He's fighting some skellies in episode. That's really all I remember about Primeval. And then Gene Stealers from 40K turn up. Like the alien, like Gene Stealers and 40K are already rip-offs of the Xenomorphs, but then Primeval just has these 40K creatures in them, and then that's kind of like the big threat. Primeval goes places as well. I feel like it went to Canada, like literally. I feel like Canada made its own version for a while.
That's a very thing. I know I always say this, but the first first three series of New Who were co-produced by the CBC.
I always forget that.
I don't know what it entailed to. I think it was probably just like financial contributions.
Was the TV movie a Canada thing as well? Or was
No, it was an American thing. It was
Right.
Fox.
I know who's big in Australia. You thought maybe they'd get their hands in there somewhere, but I feel fine. The more I talk about the New Year's Day reveal,
They'll be fine.
yeah.
What day is New Year's Day? It'll just be any. It'll be like a month.
Well, it's in the middle of Christmas. Oh god, my weapon's alright out there. It's in the middle of Christmas and all that, so it doesn't matter. Days don't mean anything.
Nope.
Days already don't mean anything for me because I have no idea what. I walked out today and it was like late night shopping in the middle of the town, and I was like, oh yeah, it's Thursday. Like I had no concept of it being Thursday until I saw that. So times that by 10 for Christmas.
I think the Entertainer might be opening.
The Entertainer opens on the 24th, the Saturday.
I think that's quite late.
Yes, that's only a month.
It feels like they've had hella delays.
Is that on Black Friday or after Black
I
Friday?
believe that is Black Friday.
Yeah.
But it just seems slightly weird. I would expect them. I guess they had construction troubles.
I wouldn't have expected them to really do anything to that unit. Local gossip, by the way. And then a Toys R Us unit. Toys R Us died, and now the Entertainer is, lying in its carcass. I assumed that they would just redo it because that Toys R Us unit had already been redone.
Yeah.
Like a year ago, let's say.
It was a total pop-up shop for like 2 years.
And then they redid it to be a shop.
They redid it on the cheap. Like,
Yeah.
It wasn't.
But it was still.
It still looked more permanent.
Yeah.
And then after a year of that, Toys R Us went.
I like how the Entertainer will open on the Friday. It'll be open on the Saturday, and then it'll close on the Sunday. So it'll be open for 2 days before it closes again. Because the Entertainer is weirdly religious. The owner is.
You don't really get that in this country.
You don't. It's not. Is it Chick-fil-A in America?
Chick-fil-A in America.
What a weird thing. I will go there and buy Transformers that I will show on this channel because this is a Transformers channel.
Ostensibly.
So that's the end of the news.
Yeah.
We should have like I've got the keyboard there, but I'm not going to do a musical interlude between sections. Deamons of the Punjab.
Yay!
Woo!
It's another historical episode.
Weirdly, yep.
And it was one I rather enjoyed.
At the time, I was hot on it. I'm kind of glad. We should probably address the fact that this is Thursday and not after the episode.
Apologies, we're late this week.
Apologies. Real life got in the way. We can say that on a podcast. How great is that? Yeah, real life happened this week. So, here we are, Thursday. Also, it wasn't that much of an urgent episode.
No, there's no massive Who lore that we need to talk about.
I mean,
there's been a massive dearth of that this season. Because we were talking earlier about who would write like the lore scenes, like the arc scenes. There's been none of those scenes, except maybe there's the stanza and how they reference the stanza.
Well, I'll get to the stanza when we talk about the Deamons.
Yeah, because when they set them up.
Mm-hmm.
It was a stanza, these are the exact same thing as the stanza.
Yeah, they're like, they're assassins, which is a different word from hunters. You have to give them that.
I was like, are they just reusing their own monster idea? Like what?
I really when I saw them in the trailer, I was like, oh my god, it's Shredder from the Ninja Turtles. And then when they appeared in the episode, I was like, oh my god, it's Shredder from the Ninja Turtles.
I guess we just sort of go through the episode actually opens, they're back in Sheffield again. It's kind of I like when everyone's like, we're going back to Sheffield, like she was just there, that was fine.
Yeah.
Our gran was visiting the family. She was all like, you guys, you're my favourite granddaughter.
Yeah, I was like, hey, what? Your other granddaughter's sitting right there. And like Yaz's mum, he's like, Mum, we've talked about this. You're not allowed to, what are you doing? So I quite like that. I quite like Yaz's nan, she's quite nice. like both in the past and like in the present.
Yeah, and she was saying I was the first woman to get married in Pakistan.
I thought that was a good trick. Like,
Yeah.
that's a good like romantic time travel book.
Yep, and that gave Yaz the instinct. She's like, I need to go back in time.
You need to go back and like aye. She goes. It was a very Fifth Doctor thing. I want to say of
Yeah.
like asking the Doctor to do a thing with time travel, and then their Doctor being like, I don't know, should I? No, I shouldn't. But like
the Doc was very much like that about it. Like
they didn't say the word reefers, and they could have said
they could have
reefers.
said it. Like, admittedly, I'd say the script was on the side of not interfering to the extent that Reapers would have been. There was a bit of interference.
There was some interference.
Probably not enough for the Reapers.
I would have like loved some interference. We'll get to it when we talk about it. But like, there was a plot point that could have happened, and I was like, I'd take Reapers for that plot point because like that's a fun thing.
They were edging close to Reapers.
Oh, we'll never ever see Reapers again. Like
No.
I said, let's note that down on the podcast. No one, like, I know they turned up in comics and probably in like all over the place in Big Finish, but on TV, they're just never going to do it again.
One episode.
Aye, but then like they make total sense for every episode.
Yeah.
Really, the Doctor has a whole thing about like, oh, I know who I can save and who I can't, and that's like the Doctor has like powers that you can't see kind of thing.
I think the Doctor allowed her to go back in time a little too readily. Like she did have like you shouldn't do this.
She had a watch that was broken, and she's like, I'll feed it into the TARDIS telepathic circuits, which I thought was nice. Cool. That was neat.
You got to see some more TARDIS controls.
Doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good.
I feel like my memory of that episode is that they were in the TARDIS, and like it's very statically shot with like the cast. I feel like Matt Smith and everybody because they had the levels and stuff, they could like stand at different places. When it cuts,
I feel like they did a lot more like sort of like the camera almost danced about the TARDIS.
Yeah, like it's this magical place. That's either our memories misremembering our like childhood image of the TARDIS, or they actually put the effort in.
Possibly.
Or they just can't film the set as much or whatever. It does seem smaller.
It does seem like it obstructs the shots. Because the shards seem like, and it is a lot smaller.
For me, it's when
I'd say
the
it's
Doctor
probably about half the size of Matt Smith's TARDIS.
Yeah, it feels like it, and it's a bad thing because this is your mythical bigger in the inside thing, and it's not that big. But like, the Doctor was quite fun in those scenes because she was like doing stuff with the controls. And Yaz was like standing there pleading with her, so okay. But then like, Bradley Walsh and Ryan are just standing there like pillars in the background, being like, "What's that, Doc?" Like just they're just so like uninvolved, but they have to be there, and like, if this was just like a Yaz, they didn't have to bring Ryan.
They didn't have to bring Ryan.
And they didn't have to bring like Bradley Walsh. Like just Ryan, Yaz and the Doctor cutting about would have been fine.
Bradley Walsh had there was a nice scene later on.
There was a nice scene with Bradley Walsh, but like I was screaming at the screen, why isn't this a Yaz scene? Why aren't you just giving all these lines of dialogue and these speeches to Yaz? Because this is her family and her plot and her history.
Yeah.
Why does Bradley Walsh? Because Bradley Walsh gets to have all of the emotional moments in every episode. Because he's an old man and he's lost his wife and he's had cancer. That makes sense. But also it's at the expense of like a Yaz episode. Because this didn't really feel like a Yaz episode, if I'm honest.
Like, it did, but...
Not really.
The thing I said about it is we know more about our past than our present.
Yes, we do. We do more about our past. We know more about our gran, really.
Yeah.
And like, the whole thing, like, I could be petty. I could sit down and time how long Yaz is on screen for, and I feel like it'll be about 10 minutes at most. Because she's there to set things up, and then like she's there to be like, that's my gran. But like,
there's a lot of that.
She doesn't really get that much interaction.
Yeah, that episode was set in Spain. I feel like it doesn't really look like the Punjab all that much, but I guess I don't know, like in my head.
Well, it's set filmed in Spain.
It's filmed in Spain.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of it, when they were walking through the foresty bits, I was like, this is just a nice wee British forest, like, or at least European.
Yeah, like we turned up, there was a guy in a cart. We found out his name's Prem.
I had a hard time remembering the names.
Prem.
I have to admit, but.
Prem and his brother Manish.
His brother Manish, who will cut into some listener questions here. Basically, all the listener questions I got this week were, does his brother wear glasses or not? I didn't notice during the episode, but now I can't unsee. I feel like he turns up with glasses.
He does, I think his first scene he has glasses.
And then intermittently doesn't have glasses. So everyone that asked that, too many people to name, and this is basically only the questions we got. I think he wears glasses. He probably doesn't need them all the time. I don't think he needs them to shoot, which raises some questions. Very odd continuity there. Maybe it's a 11th Doctor tweed jacket situation.
As well.
Yeah, like I can totally understand why people would think it was a different character. or at least actor, whatever.
Yeah, so we found out Prem is actually getting married to
Yaz's gran. And that's fine, but we know that that's a problem because Yaz's...
Prem is not Yaz's granddad.
Because Yaz's granddad, is he from Sheffield or was he in Sheffield?
I don't know.
It wasn't clear.
They never actually said it. They never said anything about the actual granddad almost.
Aye. That's fine, because then you can do stuff with him later. If the character of Yaz is successful, which I don't think she is, because we're 6 episodes in and we're still complaining about Yaz episodes.
Very by much the least liked companion. Although I guess this episode might change that a fair bit.
There was a whole bit where, like, the crux of the episode for me was, like, if you mess with your own timeline, you might not exist.
Yep.
And we can't have... The Doctor says, we can't have a universe without Yaz. And I was like, we very much already do. Like, I would trade any other character for Yaz. I'm not against Yaz. It's just that she's there.
She's just there.
And, like, she's there in the same way that they're all there, but the other two have comedy features.
Also, they've got, like, emotional weight to their...
Well, Bradley Walsh has emotional weight, which is hysterical. It's hysterical that Bradley Walsh is the one with, like, emotional weight.
Bradley Walsh is the anchor of this show.
Oh, aye.
This show without Bradley Walsh, like...
I think there's
obviously I've got my criticisms of it,
Mm-hmm.
but, like, Bradley Walsh is the anchor. Like, Bradley Walsh is everything.
Bradley Walsh had...
If it was just the Doctor, Yaz and Ryan...
I think it would be better, because then... all of the dialogue and the emotional weight would be split between them.
Yeah, but it would also be worse.
I think it's too many companions.
It is too many companions.
And, like, they could have done more, because there has been legitimate complaint about the Doctor, like, Bradley Walsh being a replacement for a male Doctor. Or, like, a male, because he's there, and he has a lot of, like, scenes where he, like, confronts someone and, like, gives them a speech, and, like explains something, or he's there for the dance to be like, because he did that thing again. He did that thing where he literally said, like, things were happening.
They'd already established that.
They had already established it was like partition, and
it was a Hindu getting married to a Muslim,
and that it wasn't Yaz's granddad. He said that was all established. We knew that as the viewers, and then Bradley Walsh said it. He was like, "Oh, yeah, Doctor." All of he said it to
and this is like a different writer from. So is this like an instruction?
This will be a tentpole bullet
Chris
point.
Chibnall is put, like, presumably there's like
a Bible
style guide.
Yeah, there'll be a Bible for the season, and it'll be like Bradley Walsh is the dad surrogate, and like
any sort of concepts which might like
any concepts. We deliver the concepts, and then he underlines them. He like highlights them in bold. Like, this is what's happening, and I'll say it as Bradley Walsh so the dads get it. And there's merit to that, but it's happening every episode.
Literally every episode.
I love it, like, I'm pro it, but it's not good.
It wasn't even a hard concept, really.
No, but like he just summed up the episode up into that point, and he almost did it to camera because he was like facing towards us.
It's like they're programming in your dad going to get a beer and missing an important.
Aye, pretty much. Like that's. I don't know if they actually said it, but the thing going into the series was they wanted to be popular like Tennant again, and like I get that's like you're striving towards that with these things, but they're very visible, like.
Also, RTD could write far better dialogue than Chris Chibnall can.
He can. Like, I think this episode. Do you know who wrote this episode? I don't know.
It was Nish Patel or something like that.
I didn't check.
His surname was Patel.
They did well. They did better. I still think the moment-to-moment dialogue is bad, but that's. I guess it's a brand new show again, and it's all new cast.
It had like a more warm sort of family.
It did, and like I didn't hate any of the characters.
No.
I mean, I suppose I hated the ones you were meant to hate, which is what you should get to, right? But like, what
the world building was good, but like.
I thought there was quite a lot of good world building, because at the start they mentioned they had an adventure that we didn't see.
There was good world building. My only slight concern about the world, they were talking about how the partition was happening, and aside from a little part of it, we never really saw it.
No, it was just
we
was
didn't
happening.
get like a sense of like, because from what I understand about the history, like the partition was like a chaotic time.
Well,
like,
they talked about
millions of people being displaced. And here it just sort of seems like it's taking place in a bubble.
Well, that bubble gets burst. And like the main highlight, I guess, of the episode is the bubble getting burst at the end, but it's kind of bursting on. It was a very brave thing to put on immediately after Armistice on BBC
But
One.
I feel like there's poppies and like there's like flower poppy. I feel like it was a very deliberate choice that episode was on.
I feel like a lot of people got angry at that episode because like the Armistice program immediately ended and then it went into Doctor Who, and it wasn't like a good time for Britain. It wasn't like showing Britain in a great light. It was just like because there was dialogue in the episode. It's like, oh, you're English, I bet you're gonna like swan off back home and leave us to deal with like the chaos and like it wasn't like Britain's done really well here and like if that. I thought it was pretty cool. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like they're going to like more interesting historical spots.
Yeah, like historical spots and
Victorian
concepts.
London.
I didn't know anything about.
Yeah, again.
Just, one of them's going to be Victorian London. No, one of them's a witch hunter thing, so it'll probably be like Salem, like America.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's confirmed that, but I imagine if they have the chance, they might do London again. So. Because there's only so many episodes. There's only 4 episodes left, isn't there?
We haven't seen London yet. I suspect London will not be in the series at all.
What if it's Daleks at New Year's Day in London? Like, again, I'm up for that. The bad guys show up.
Yeah, the bad guys.
What were they called again? I
can't. The Fajarians.
Was that they sounded and looked like a Star Trek Voyager alien, which I'm into. That's my aesthetic.
When did they turn up? Like, were they on the ship at first?
They're there, and the Doctor walks out and immediately has like a telepathic episode, and she like sees them or sees something, and she's like, "Oh, I don't like this. I shouldn't have come. Like, oh, this is bad." And then they're like cutting about trees because they're like assassins, and then the Doctor, they're just there. I want to say. I feel like they turn around and they're standing there, and then they teleport away, and Yaz is not Grandad, has seen them before.
Yeah. Because he saw them at he was in World War II.
He was in World War II and he saw them and they were like, oh, they're demons, and like, I like them
his
to be
friend
called
died
demons.
and he saw the Fajarians.
Was it his brother?
His brother,
was it his big brother? Was he the middle brother or like?
I think so. Yeah.
That was the vibe I got. I don't know if that was the actual. But yeah, and they have her like run around in the forest and we hunted them and like they've got a spaceship buried in the woods, and the Doctor.
I quite like that, like spaceship. Like I quite like when you got past the episode. There's a spaceship.
Yes, you have to have something to like get you through. Pure historicals, unless it's the Aztecs. Yeah. We've said this before. Unless it's like 3 a.m. and you're watching the Aztecs on Twitch, like it's a bad time. It's a good time, but like it's hard. It's very dry. The Doctor recognizes them as like this elder space assassin race.
Yeah, which is by the point I was like, are these the Stenza? Like they just seem like
I didn't make that connection at the time. I was just like, oh yeah. The way that she talked about them was kind of like hushed tones, and like she knew about them, like the Time Lords knew about them, and I think she said elder race. They felt like a kind of like not just like some flunky space race, but like a kind of these are super assassins that probably gave the Time Lords trouble, or at least like cosmic races trouble, which I appreciated.
There's been the word Time Lord has not been.
No, that'll be like a bridge they cross at some point. Like they don't even know because she joked about how she used to be a man.
Yeah, like
and
has she even told them about the 2 hearts thing?
Don't think so. Well, I can't remember. Probably like at some point in episode 1. But that's fine because that means you can just stagger it through the series and new viewers can like get up to speed with it.
Gallifrey bomb.
The Gallifrey bomb. Gallifrey exists. It's out there. Is it in another universe or is it just in this universe? Because
it's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell because the Doctor got to it. Capaldi got to it via the Time Lord confession dial.
Little thingy that you had.
Yeah. So what? And
where Heaven Sent took place.
Where Heaven Sent took place. Also, it exists at the end of time because in Heaven Sent he goes there to visit Ashilda, and she's like, I feel like she's on Gallifrey. Is it Gallifrey? She's at the end of time.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say it was Gallifrey because the rest of the episode was Gallifrey, but yeah, it's good that they're not doing Gallifrey stuff unless you can do it confidently and you have a point. Like it just turns into. Like it just demystifies the
nonsense sci-fi.
You should watch The Invasion of Time. It's like the worst Time Lord episode I've ever seen because it's the Time Lords get invaded by these tinfoil monsters Like the Doctor is like the villain for the first episode. It's the fourth Doctor. He's the villain for the first episode, and he lets these literally tinfoil hanging off string invade Gallifrey, and then it turns out they're actually patsies for the Sontarans, and the Sontarans super just invade Gallifrey, and then it's like 12, what feels like 12 episodes of going through the TARDIS, and the TARDIS is clearly like a disused swimming pool or like waterworks. It looks terrible, and like they keep doing like the Escher thing of going down the same stairs and like the same rooms. It's like they leave one of the High Council like just at the pool, and he's just like sitting at the pool reading a book while like Sontarans slowly walk about the like that's like using Gallifrey bad, which I feel like they do most times. I liked the design. I didn't realise they were bats until like quite way into the episode. They had like 12 eyes and like pointy ears. They looked quite cute, and they had like the shredder spikes on their shoulders. As a race, like I said, it was the first episode. I didn't think they were going to do guys in rubber suits.
They did,
and they've been doing it. They've been like mad going for it. We should probably just talk about what the twist is with the aliens because we're talking about them.
Yeah, well, the Doctor runs away and then she's told like we don't really attack her. Like she runs away fine.
They've got
like these master assassins.
Yeah,
they can't hit the Doctor.
Yeah. Well, she teleports away, and then they've got like teleporters set up in the transmat. I love a good transmat. They've got transmats set up throughout the forest to like blink people about. Yep. And then they go back to the hut, or they go back to the wee house, and then they have more character drama. A lot of people were saying it was like really good character work. I don't necessarily feel like it was good character work. I feel like there was characters.
It wasn't like standout. There was characters, and they had some work done to them.
Yeah, I liked Yaz's not Grandad. I thought he was.
We find out that the aliens they pay respects to everyone who dies alone. I forget why. Was it because like
their planet? They were all hunting.
Their planet got invaded.
No, it exploded or something. It like straight up like Superman, like a comet smashed into it or something. The Doctor steals a jar from them, we should say. They're like looking around the spaceship, and then they're like, I feel like Ryan just like presses a button and like this jar of goop comes out of the thing, and the Doctor's like, I'm having that. And like so like that's why the aliens are after her for the rest of the thing, but we don't find out that the jar of goop is actually the remains of their race and everyone that's ever died alone. At this point, I have to say, that's quite similar to a recent Transformers comic plot, where there's one of these Transformers gods who goes about and like picks up anyone who ever goes missing or like dies alone in the battlefield, and actually it's a time traveling Transformer that just takes them away. Man. So anybody that like you thought just like disappeared or died, they're fine.
That's great.
Yeah, that's a great plot, and it was quite similar here. But like.
We find out that Prem's gonna die.
Prem's gonna die because he's not Yaz's granddad. He does have a watch, which is a whole thing. That's the reason why Yaz goes, is because they've got this watch and it's important to her gran. I really like the scene where that watch got broken, because these two people were threatening to have a wedding for the entire episode.
Oh yeah, we should talk about Prem's brother, Manish. He was horrible.
He wasn't very Manish at all. He was quite boyish.
He couldn't accept, like he was like mad.
He was. Like, he's a stand-in for the.
You're marrying a Muslim. What?
He's like the kind of stand-in for the young radicalized man of today, though, isn't he? He's like, oh, your younger brother. Like I went away. Like the middle brother, Prem, went away to fight World War II, and then he came back, and his brother's become radicalized. And, like, I thought that was a wee bit heavy-handed, but it's a good point to be making in this day and age, so it gets a pass.
Also, that's exactly what people. That's why the partition happened.
I genuinely don't know anything about partition. I'm quite happy that this episode exists because I've never studied it. I've never had the opportunity to study it.
I saw a bit about the history in that episode because that Lord was talking about how they were going to split the board.
Aye, the Doctor knows that Lord, which I feel like didn't come off that well for the Doc.
That's a total trope of this Doc, where she's met all these celebrities.
Like, she's been doing that every episode, and like Einstein's wedding in the last episode.
Was it Amelia Earhart this episode?
Yeah. And Lord, whatever he was saying, she was like, "Oh, when I see him again, I'll tell him. I'll take your notes down." Like they've been threatening to have a wedding this entire episode, and it's great because they're two. Is it Hindu and Muslim? Like, and like they're on the border as well. Between,
like you literally see Manish like putting the border in.
Which I thought was a bit on the nose, but like that's a good hook.
Just level it right next. A lot of people would.
Like, like no, it's a great. It's like narratively convenient or whatever, but like it's great. So,
Yeah.
and there's a good bit where they split off the men and the women to like go before the wedding.
Yeah.
I guess the stag and hen dues.
Yeah.
Before, I don't know what the actual cultural thing is, but they go and get henna tattoos. Is it henna tattoos? Is that the thing?
Yeah.
They get little tattoos and like Ryan and Bradley go have a chat. Did they play cards? I can't remember.
Okay,
Like they did a thing and then like it was clearly awkward. And
also, around like we got a Yaz and Graham scene. Like,
did we?
Yeah, like that's what I was gonna say. One of my favorite because like they barely said a word to each other.
Yeah.
Because it's always Yaz and Brian and Graham.
If they should be
Well,
related.
I forget exactly what we talked about, but it was a pretty nice scene. It was just sort of like, oh yeah.
Either like Yaz should be more relate, like the two families should have some sort of family relation.
Yeah, like a link between their families.
Like Yaz
Like
and Ryan went to
link,
school.
yeah, they went to school together.
And that only came up in one scene in episode 1.
Yeah.
If that had kept coming up, and I guess it does because they know, like that grind scene.
Grind. It's not grind.
Grind, isn't it? There's probably music called grind.
G-R-I-N-D.
I don't know what the young people like.
Stormzy.
Stormzy. Is Stormzy an AI? Is Stormzy like what?
No,
I don't.
he's a guy.
Okay.
I think
But-
he's younger than us. He's like 20.
Yeah, we talked about this last time. Everyone is younger than us, though. It's fine. There was a scene where he was calling her uncool, and that felt like they were like childhood friends or whatever, or like
Yeah.
at least knew each other. But other than that, there's nothing. And like you could probably get away with that if she was more policewoman-y, if that was her
just
trope.
nothing.
But like, I'm not asking for her to be a mystery man. I don't want her to be like
I mean,
exactly one thing.
it would be lame writing if their only trope was what job they were.
Aye, but
At
it
the
was
same
something.
time, like, there's just no sense of identity. Like, who is Yaz? What drives her?
Well, I feel like the thing is that they're gonna say Yaz is lesbian, like, and
I guess.
But that'd be
She was
fine.
like, this last episode was going to set me off on that though,
Hmm.
because they made a whole deal. Oh, when you next come back, you're going to explain who the dog. She was back, and she never.
well,
had
she was
to-
back in Spiders, or like I suppose that was the end.
Aye,
yeah.
that was that.
But you don't necessarily get the time period for that. I know if she goes back to see her gran at the end and asks her, but she says she doesn't need to know the story because she's lived it.
No, but like at the start of the episode, like she was just at home. Presumably she had been back. Since
I feel like
Spiders.
I want to say that happens before. I feel like that's young Yaz. I want to say that the kind of contextual stuff was saying that was younger than the current time period Yaz.
Well, so then when they cut to the TARDIS, it's future Yaz, who just randomly.
Yeah, that happens all the time. Like you see that in loads of stuff. I feel like that happens. In
No,
Doctor
because she
Who.
got the watch. Like she had the watch in the TARDIS. Like she
Maybe
didn't
it
have the
just
watch before.
The impression that I got that was at some point previous to their current adventures.
I'll never rewatch it. Maybe it was.
Maybe she just has the watch and that's her broken watch. That wedding, the night before it was great, had one of the best 13th Doctor moments so far. One of my favourite, when they're talking about how she's like, oh, I didn't used to do this when I was a man.
Yeah.
And then they question her on it, and then she has a genuinely great, I can't even remember what it was, which is the problem with talking about it, but she has a response that I laughed at and thought was one of her best moments. It was something about body gender regeneration, and she sold the line so well. Like I was like, haha, that's great, and like it was a really good comedy moment.
Yeah.
It was a really good address in the fact that she's regenerated,
Yeah.
and
One of the very few comedy moments in this entire series. If you think about like RTD and Moffat, who like every fourth line had a joke
I
or like a funny.
Maybe-
Chibnall, who is very
maybe
much-
Chibnall's reacting to like been taking DC fans on board about their like Marvel criticism. It's like, oh, it's just quips and like witty bants. But I don't know. I don't think it's been that bad. Like Ryan's a constant source of comedy. Like Bradley Walsh will mention.
unintentional.
Aye. There's not been that much dyspraxic thing from him. He didn't do any dyspraxic
He's
stuff
not done
this
anything
week.
dyspraxic.
He's not done anything really, to be fair. So. I thought the before wedding stuff was great. I thought the wedding stuff was great
Yeah.
because doesn't like the wedding happen, and like there's a holy man at the start that we've just
Oh, yeah,
completely
he-
forgot.
yeah, he got
seemed
killed.
cool.
He got killed by the
He-
intolerant people.
The intolerant,
And
the
that's
manish.
why yeah. Or did Manish kill the old
I think
guy?
he did, yeah. But it was made to look like the Bat Assassins did it,
Yeah,
or it wasn't made
yeah,
to.
it was
The
'cause-
episode made us think.
yeah, and the old preacher died alone.
Mm. Yeah.
That's why they.
That's why they were there, and they were like standing over him. It's a good concept for like I just
It
don't.
is, yeah.
I don't think it was well executed at the end because I suppose we'll get to that when we talk about it. The wedding was good. Manish came in with a gun?
Yeah.
What is saying? Like, I'm remembering this now. It's been like 4
You
days,
can't
5
get
days.
married to a Muslim.
He let it happen though, like it pretty much
Yeah.
happened, and then he came in with a gun. Or like, didn't he come in and then storm away, and the doctor was like, I'll talk to him.
Yeah, and then he turned up again on the horse.
Oh, he went and got a gun, and
Yeah.
it was coming back, and he was like, is that what you did to the holy man? Did you shoot him with a gun? And like, no care about it because he's like, yeah, he said something about he's not holy because he was going to like consecrate this marriage. That's not the word. That's not at all the phrasing. Sanctify? Something. He was going to approve it.
Yeah.
Again,
the doctor showed a bit more like forcefulness in her.
Yes and no. She ran away, but then like she wasn't needed because the Bat people were fine.
Yeah. Also, she couldn't do anything because.
Yeah, she couldn't. She was again defeated by history, which is a problem. Like it's a genuine problem because they've written themselves into that. Because if you're going to take history seriously, which you should probably be doing, you can't have the Doctor just save the day.
This is why like going to see revisit your family's past or lame Doctor Who ideas. They obviously obviously this episode worked in bad, but like
well they could just do it. They could just because at one point they were saying like Yaz could interfere herself out of existence, and I was like, I'm fine with that. Get Prem on the TARDIS, like her grandfather would be a great character. Like see if this episode was literally Yaz. Yeah, if Yaz died. That would have been like you could say that's horrible or whatever, but we would be talking about that. We instead of like being like, no, we're too tired from work and watching Doctor Who, we'd have had to do a podcast that night.
If Moffat had written this series, that would have happened.
Yeah, like there's it's a problem with fiction where like
that literally happened to Rory.
Yeah, that did happen to Rory.
Literally happened to Rory.
But that's a great moment. Like that's a huge memorable thing. And like I guess I don't want them to do the same thing again, but like. Yeah. If they'd done something, it would have been memorable. But they can't just, because they're going to wait till the series finale. We had a comment in the thread, in the chat from James. Mm-hmm. And James was saying that he's thinking that a companion will probably die.
Yeah, well everyone's thinking it's going to be Graham.
Well, Graham's got space cancer now. Like, the sheer amount of like stuff he's been exposed to. Yes, I guess, but like Graham's the best one.
I know,
and like that makes sense because you get your emotional reaction. I'll be sitting there and I'll be like...
Not to get out of the world, but there's talk about how Bradley Walsh has like got a chat show he's going to do.
Oh, right, okay.
So...
I'm fine with that. Again, I was saying at the start, they should just do one season companions. Like they should, like with Bill, they had freedom to kill Bill to death because they weren't tied in to be like, oh no, Clara's such a big thing and we'll have to have her every... No, just... do a proper different story. And I guess they've been doing that with the companions this year, and I guess you can say that.
You're right there, but like Clara and Bill had remarkably similar endings.
Yes, they had the exact same ending. Like Bill got to be a puddle god and cut about the universe with her puddle god girlfriend, and Clara got to be basically a Time Lord with her like TARDIS that is a flying diner, and cut about with a shielder. Yeah, so I didn't care by the end. Like it's over. Like just move on with it. Like this is a fresh new thing, so I can be critical about it. The sheer amount of like time it takes to get through all of Moffat's like the decade he was there. Like I was just like, whatever. You did the same thing twice. Who cares? You killed Clara like 18 times, and I know that was her thing. See, when people are like, oh, it doesn't matter that like Clara died because like that was her thing and she kept dying. That was fine for when she kept dying because she
kept dying.
Yeah, she stopped. She definitely stopped. Well, I suppose that Christmas episode happened where she died of old age. Have you seen that one? Have you seen the one with Santa?
Yeah, well, that was the one where she was clearly meant to leave.
Yes, she was going to leave, and then the actress decided to stay or whatever.
Because they literally like her dying, and then oh no, she's fine.
Season 8 with without Clara would have been really good. See if it was like Heaven Sent and Hellbent and that, but without Clara.
I mean, Heaven Sent.
I know it couldn't have worked, but you could have still built up a cool guy, a cool lad companion. You could have done Bill the season early. And like,
it was ostensibly because of the Doctor's grief about Clara. That's why Heaven Sent happened.
Yes, which is a good thing, but like that doesn't work for me because I don't care about Clara, and like I don't feel because like Clara's built up to be like Capaldi's best friend, but I don't think it works at all. Like, I think she's horrible, and I think. You know, he's 2000 by that point. Yeah. Like, he's seen so many people die. Like, he's not going to feel that grief for Sarah Jane dying. Like...
I feel like the Capaldi and Bill are a much better fit.
Aye. They've got, like, a teacher-student dynamic and stuff.
Oh, that's great. Like, that totally fits Capaldi.
Yeah, that fits Doctor Who as well. That's him doing Chibnall's back to teaching thing like a season before Chibnall did it.
Also, the addition of Nardole as a companion was also very good.
Yeah, Nardle's very much like Catherine Tate, and I really didn't like Nardle in his first episode. That's the one with River Song again, and he gets his head chopped off. I've not seen the superhero Christmas special, so I don't know how it fits together really. I don't know how he comes back. Or
is that like the one episode in Who you haven't seen that?
Probably. Yes, probably. I could see it now. It's up on Netflix. I'll probably watch it on Christmas Day.
Yes! Finally, a proper Christmas episode.
It's probably pretty bad because it's probably old man Moffat being like, "Oh, these superhero films and their tropes are the Doctor is the only real hero here, and he's actually not a superhero. He's an alien." And like, which I suppose is the plot of Superman, but like,
Moffat impression.
ooh, he's not English at all. He's famously Scottish.
Yeah, Prem shows up, or Mana shows up.
And he's phoned some lads who are here to kill him. And Prem had a great line where he was like, "Is this what it's come to?" And he's like, he was pointed out to a guy that was holding a rifle to his face, and he was like, "You're a guy that I served with during the war, and you're here to kill me." And like, because of it's a very timely episode about racism.
Very timely episode about racism
and sectarianism, and like. Since Sunday, I've warmed to a lot more. On Sunday, I was quite like, not another great episode, and like the Doctor was quite ineffectual again, and that's a good vibe. But like I keep saying every podcast, we have the context of like other Doctors, and I guess it's kind of brave that they've gone back to kind of the Doctor isn't the greatest and most powerful person in the world.
But at the same time, you want to watch Doctor Who.
Yeah,
the Doctor's awesome.
The Doctor is awesome, and like you can scale it back from Moffat's successes, but at the same time, you don't have to go this hard on like the Doc can't save everyone, and but it's not even the Doc can't save everyone. It's the Doc isn't involved with the saving of everyone, because like Prem had to die for the timeline, and also the bats were there. The bat assassins were there to witness.
Say fixed point in time.
No, presumably isn't a fixed point in time, but it would have erased Yaz, or like it would have been awkward because Yaz's grandmum went to Sheffield when Prem was still alive. Like, there's stuff to be done there, but like the actual scene of him being shot, and I guess it was heartbreaking because they had just got married, and like it was a good real life thing for like it was great character development for Yaz's gran. Like it's a great like.
He's had more character development
than Yaz, because like she's the whole episode was about how, or even off screen, how much of a life Yaz's gran has had. She was like the first person married in Pakistan. She was married at whatever age she was, and then she went across the world to get to Sheffield.
I like that line about how she just had the map and then just pointed it
randomly at Sheffield. If that was Moffat, like there would be a later scene where like the Doctor moved her hand to Sheffield or something. Like there'd be again a tweed jacket moment. Like I feel like there's been bits and bobs of setup like that. There's been.
But yeah, do you think Yaz's gran remembers?
I hate that in time travel stories. See, you know how like
I wonder if that's what she said.
You know how like
you're my favourite granddaughter.
Yeah.
If it was like an RTD or a Moffat edge, the gran would have winked.
Yeah.
But
absolutely. I hate it. I hate that trope because I know I won't remember some guy I met for a day in 60 years. I know I won't. But in TV,
you would remember who randomly turned up to your wedding.
Yeah, I suppose. Again, I've got a terrible memory, so I won't know what happens next week. But like seeing plots, seeing time travel stories, seeing like Back to the Future, how like Marty's mum doesn't recognize Marty in the future, even though she names her son after Marty. Like, see when that, I don't know it's time travel, and you're overwriting stuff, but it just doesn't. I want that wink. I want that RTD wink. I know what happened here, eh? You saved my life, even though you remember the bat people, the bats.
There's I like that trope where it's like normal characters can't find out about time travel. But see like your old gran.
Yes. See Wilf. Like Wilf can know that like Donna's away. Cause remember that scene where like, they wave at Wilf, and like there's a great like moment for Wilf because he's like watching for years.
There's like special tier of characters.
Yeah.
To know.
Where they don't have agency, I guess. where they won't. It's like Wilf won't go tell.
It's usually old
Like
people.
yeah, the old people can know. They won't rat us out to that government.
They've
Like
got dementia anyways.
I guess that's the underlying thing there. That's quite grim.
That seems to be the undertone of it a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I like the Bat people. I didn't like that they turned up and they got to have their moment of like, we're here for Prem.
Yeah.
But like, the Doctor and the team are there. Why can't the Doctor and the team witness Prem dying?
Team TARDIS.
Team TARDIS can stand and bear witness to his death. The Bats are superfluous at that point because that is their goal. But like,
Like he's not really dying alone because
no,
the TARDIS are there.
like yeah, his not granddaughter can see him die and like. But they're
How
like,
does that work? Like, because the TARDIS went there, the TARDIS were always there, or could the Bajarians only see that he was going to die?
well, they could
The fact that
see.
the Doctor would show up.
They could see the winds of time, so I liked that because it was saying that they had time travel stuff, but not quite, and
Yeah.
like it wasn't this that they knew every single thing. They were kind of mystically seeing.
Like they wouldn't time travel, but whoever they would have like.
I think they
like
kind of implied time travel. I can't remember.
They're like just like cosmic beings, so like whoever was about at that time.
Elder races, which I like to say about space people.
I think that's my favourite of the races they've introduced so far.
I quite like Stitch.
We might think more. We might think at the time. We might think more about the Stenza.
Well, I had a thought about them coming out of this episode. It kind of seems like they're building them up this season as the only malevolently evil alien race. Because they're specifically shown to be evil.
The Bajarians were evil at one point, but they're now not.
They are.
evil.
They're cool guys that witness people's deaths.
Yeah.
And like Stitch is...
As Bradley Walsh pointed out, he's not going to eat us. He's just going to eat the shit.
Exactly. Like he's just like an animal. What else have we had? We've had like
The space racist. He was
Space Racist was a space racist from the future though.
Yeah.
He was human. Humans are the real monsters,
Yeah.
you know. And we had giant spiders who were just giant spiders.
Right.
What else? There's probably other episodes that we're missing. That
There wasn't really. There was the cloth.
the cloth
sheets
things
of
which were
decorations.
genetically engineered by the
Yeah.
Stenza or the science
Yeah.
slaves of the Stenza. So I kind of like that
Like, the
because
villains of the second net were basically the Stenza also.
yes, I quite liked that. I quite like that.
I
But
just think it's so weird that they introduced like a throughput in the second episode.
A through
and
plot,
there's
yeah.
been nothing since.
Aye, that second episode with its like timeless child
It's
malarkey.
so weird.
It's so RTD and like
But they're just not built upon it.
it's a bizarre one because you think that everything maybe I don't know because like you can't say that like the spiders were part of a Stenza plot.
No.
They put the genetically engineered spiders next to the rubbish that made them grow and like
Unless like one of the Stenzas. But the Stenza wouldn't do that because the Stenza get their teeth.
is the Stenza is Donald Trump in that episode? Is he one of the Stenza? Because he was clearly setting up a like
Shape-shifting Stenza.
he was clearly there to be like I'm going to be a threat in another episode, probably the last one. I'm going to be president and give you trouble.
I feel like a shot of the finale got out.
Really?
Yeah, it looked like a junkyard they were in or something.
Trotter's Lane, probably 1963.
We made it.
No,
London.
1963. Oh, we're at 20% battery, but don't worry, I've got a charger.
Yeah, Andrew, I can't believe my favourite episodes of the series have been historical ones.
Yeah, that's an odd one for you.
I think it's because they've added they're doing interesting historical rather than just boring crap.
Yes, it's
Overdone.
your hatred of Victorian era
Yeah.
London, which was quite overdone in Moffat. See when they introduced
There's so many of them.
the Silurian detectives and the
Like
Deep
some of the
Breath
episodes were
is just
some of the
bad.
episodes were fine. Like that one with Bill and Capaldi where they went back to the one with the lake.
love it. That's an illustration
I know,
of
but
one of my points.
But the thing, I loved that episode in the end. But I had to the first 5 minutes of it were I was like I can't.
They were exactly what you
I
hate.
can't do this.
Frost fairs though,
And then they
Frost
eventually
Fair's
got.
an angle for
They
you.
eventually got to the Frost Fair. And I'm like, this is a good episode now.
That's an illustrative of my point because that's. I guess both takes are valid, but that episode is specifically Capaldi being like, "Aye, the past is racist. You got to put up with it, Bill. This is kind of a horrible thing." And then he physically, like some rich lord guy who's the villain of the episode, has a huge racist tirade at Bill, and then Bill's like kind of holding it together, and then the Doctor, oh nice, the Doctor just like Capaldi just punches that guy out for his racism, which I feel the way they're doing it is more relevant to the actual problems of today and the actual troubles, and like there's a huge thing to be said for that. But you can't keep doing that because it just makes the Doctor not a
doing
thing.
anything.
Because it's combined with my point about the Stenza currently being the only malevolent threat thus far, not counting space racism from the future. Because so far they've not went to any fun places.
No.
I feel like all of like RTD's things at least start with like we're going to space Barcelona and we're gonna have a good time, and then it immediately becomes a horror.
Yeah.
This
one is just like they're just cutting them out weirdly.
And like, but like, they've gone to like a desert planet, which it was a good time, but you know that's not a great illustration. Like the first place they went
didn't
to
go there. The first place they went to when they had character agency
was 1940.
No, it wasn't, because remember the TARDIS ran in the wrong place. In fact, weirdly, the first place they went to when they had agency was Sheffield.
Yeah, they went back and they had like a spider adventure, but like the two.
I feel like this is only the second time they went somewhere because they wanted to. Because they ended up in they went to the junk planet, but they didn't intend to go on the space.
Yeah, they got Sonic Mind. Yeah.
And then this episode they did intend to go to. This is only the second time they've intended to go somewhere.
2 out of 6 isn't necessarily the best or worst result, especially with the Doctor.
And next episode, are they going to go to Space Amazon?
It looks like Space Amazon, doesn't it? How excited are you for Space Amazon with Lee Mack? That shot of Lee Mack, like, you know the way they framed him in the trailer, kind of like a ominous Lee Mack Space Amazon. He's got like high vis on. Incredible.
Kablam.
Best part of that Punjab episode was that shot of Lee Mack in the trailer. I'm bad like that. I like watching trailers for next time.
I really like the sort of Indian music version of the Doctor Who theme.
Oh, was it the Doctor Who theme? I didn't know at that point. I was kind of laughing at Lee Mack. Or I was preemptively left. I can't remember if it happened immediately after or immediately before the...
There's still no bloody minute late though.
No, which is shocking.
You know why?
They've got that extra 10 minutes.
You know why RTD Who got to have the middle 8?
Was it because all the scripts were desperately coming in under time?
No, it's because RTD Who did not cut to the credits immediately after the episode ended. It did the choo, and then it went straight to next time. And then the Doctor Who theme played over the next time. So by the time the credits started proper, it was about to get into the point where it did the middle 8.
They should do more of that. There is a pished man outside, or at least a guy that's having a great night.
He's having a great night.
He's having a great night.
Do you move on to questions?
No, I've still got things to say. They went to the past. The places they've gone haven't been great. It's kind of like Old Who, where like the companions always complaining about where they're going. Like, to be fair to the team, they've not been complaining, but like they always go to bad places and bad things happen to them. Like they went to the racist America, which isn't a great like use of your time machine. We can go anywhere like fun, but no, you're going to racist America, and then you're going to like a horrible space planet, and even though they got sent there, but like I really like Who when it's like we've got a time machine, we're going anywhere, it's going to be a good. Like Eccleston took Rose to the year like 5 billion or whatever it was in his first episode, and they had a cracking dumb adventure, and it turned to horror immediately. But like,
wait, wasn't that the end of the world?
That was the end of the world. Like he took her to the end of the earth, and it was like a fun, stupid, like multicolored space epic thing. And then, to be fair, they went to Victorian era London for Ghosts, but they still got to meet Charles Dickens like an episode in. Charles Dickens.
And Eve Miles from Torchwood.
Eve Miles wasn't, and they referenced that in like, because she's like, are you from an old Victorian family? It's like, yes, I am from an old Victorian family. That's why, and like the doctor said it was like temporal, like mimetic something or other to explain. They didn't have to explain that, but they did. Same with is it Tosh? It's been ages since I've watched Torchwood.
Tosh is in the
Aliens of London.
Aliens of London.
Yeah, and she was there because like Jack, like asked her to be. She was like doing a shift. She was like covering for someone basically. She was like, "Oh, that time you made me cover, and I had to like." There was a pig alien, and it was gross. Yeah. There was a lot of that in RTD2. Probably too much, but that's what you're here for. So, have you got questions? Because I only remember we added some to the document, but I can't actually remember what the questions are other than the Manish. Does he wear glasses or doesn't he?
We answered that.
We did.
Probably.
He has the capacity to wear glasses. Whether he needs them or not is unclear at best.
We'll send a letter to BBC Doctor Who,
I'll
BBC Television Centre.
Did we talk about? Because we'll just talk about stuff we saw. I saw that the Timeless Child thing. People were immediately, I was immediately thinking it was something potentially related to Lung Barrow, which is a Virgin New Adventures novel. So it's like deep lore, and that's why
It's not going to be.
it's not going to be that. But like it felt like that when it was mentioned because it wasn't the Timeless Child, but it was something else.
Everyone wouldn't even have read that.
No, that's the thing. Some hero / monster, had him in an interview, and they were like, "The Timeless Child stuff is that potentially related to Lung Barrow?" And on camera, he was like, "Oh no, like I wanted to read that one, but I could never get it because it was like out of print and like so like no, it's not like Lung Barrow related at all." And it's like, good. It probably should never be Lung Barrow related. I love Lung Barrow because like it says that Time Lords are like grown from looms, like they're loom because I think they were cursed with sterility by the Sisterhood of Karn, who are like the brain immortal. So they were like cursed for some reason. And the Doctor's whole plot is that you know how like
where McGann regenerates.
Yes, the McGann's regeneration. You know how it was his birthday the other day.
Happy birthday, Paul McGann.
Happy birthday, Paul McGann, the best Doctor.
Yeah. Classically trained.
Classic. Probably in Holby City now.
Yeah, well, I think he might be playing a serial killer.
That's great.
I saw a trailer where he looked very serial killer.
Is that Holby City's version of everyone in EastEnders becomes a gangster at some point?
Oh yeah, they all just kill people.
That's how you leave Holby City. In a
TV,
body bag.
You never just kill one people.
No.
You always kill more.
Okay, they're serial. Like they. What's the plot of EastEnders for Christmas? It was a whole murder thing for a while, wasn't it? Wasn't it Ian Beale's daughter was spoilers for
I've been out of it.
we'll have to watch it because it'll be on and Danny Dyer will be
Danny
there.
Dyer will be involved.
Danny Dyer should be.
I'll be at home, so I will watch
I've
it.
got
I'll let you know what Danny Dyer is.
I've got some of my own listener questions that involve Danny Dyer that we'll talk about in a minute. What was Why has Danny Dyer never been?
Lord 2018 and Danny Dyer hasn't been in Doctor Who. They had that trailer of all these famous people. Danny Dyer was not one of them.
Danny Dyer's waiting to be the Doctor.
Absolutely.
Obviously. Danny Dyer, I'll just do it now. If you could fan cast a Doctor, say for the 14th Doctor.
Danny Dyer.
We'll say that up front. Both of us, Danny Dyer.
It'd be incredible.
That's the sound of me crunching my Jakeman's, by the way. I've got some Pringles in hand.
I wondered what the smell was.
It's the smell of Jakeman's. It's a sensual smell. That's great. It had to happen today because I was dying. This isn't sponsored by Jakeman's, but Jakeman's, if you're listening, sponsor me, please. Send me your crates. Send me pallets of Jakeman's.
You have a problem.
I have a genuine Jakeman's problem. Danny Dyer, right? As himself. Like, I wouldn't want him to try and act or anything. Like, I just want him cutting about. Maybe, you know how he like wears those kind of waistcoats and EastEnders, that kind of thing? It looks quite doctory. Quite thuggish. Like, once you've done Eccleston, you can really do anybody as a doctor, I think.
That'd be great.
Yeah. I don't know if, like, I could do like a season of that, like an Eccleston style, like 12 episodes and done.
Why not? You got Frankie Weekend to play with.
Exactly. You can do whatever you want now. Like, I feel like our one viewer is screaming, God, no.
Actually, technically, you've only got 11 now.
Is it 11? Also, they've got as many as they ever want to do because they can just get hucked through cracks in time regeneration cycles. Danny Dyer is my first big one. My other one, Johnson from Peep Show.
Yeah, that was.
That's the one I keep in my pocket. Like anytime, see when the new Doctor was about to be announced,
it's always going to be Patterson Joseph.
It's always going to be Johnson from Peep Show. Can I only base that on one scene? Because Johnson's a monster. Johnson's a genuine monster of a character. Yeah. Frankfurt.
I judge your price to be £540.
He's done a lot of stuff. He's in the time travel show on Netflix. Is it Timeless? It's called. There's this thing where like criminals break into this lab and steal a time machine. So Johnson recruits this crack team of 3 people to go back in time and kidnap or like defeat the time travelers because he's built a time machine. Like Johnson's the scientist. He's like Patterson Joseph is that his name? I can't not call him Johnson from Peep Show. He was also in Jekyll, that Moffat penned thing, He comes into the show and like confronts Jekyll, and he's like, "This is just like Jekyll and Hyde, isn't it, Doctor Jekyll?" Like he just name drops Jekyll and Hyde. It's great. Kind of assumed dude. Has he been? He was in Eccleston's last episode or second last. He was on The Weakest Link with Rose. But is that his only appearance in New
Who? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So and I base Johnson's. Like I say he's a monster, but there's that one scene in the episode where Mark, David Mitchell, is very ill and he's been held hostage in his own bathroom.
He's like,
well,
what are you? Yeah, like Johnson comes in to rescue.
It doesn't go well, but there's that split scene of like Johnson like busting down a door to heroically go save Mark, and like it's only like a couple of seconds, but that solidifies in my mind that Johnson should be the Doctor. Like,
yeah, because they're throwing the mushroom party. And what's going on here? And
it's just so dynamic and heroic in those 2 and then the rest of the show is a genuine monster. And I forget how it ends for like Johnson. I forget the last thing we see of him, but
he's working for the bank.
Is he working? Yeah, that bank that they're gonna.
I think he fires Mark.
Does he fire Mark?
He fires Mark because he's fiddled the.
Oh right, and then he gets Jeff.
Stuff to get,
yeah, it's the last. It's not
Jeremy
heroic last Johnson.
No. Like I say, I was talking about this, but like they didn't know what to do with a lot of the characters after GLB went.
Yes, I quite like the bank stuff.
Yeah, that was a real problem. Like GLB gave that show such like a sense of like it was like GLB was like the anchor because it's where all the characters like.
And it's this it's like the company in the IT crowd and where they make jokes about like we don't know what it actually does or is, but like you can have meetings in Aberdeen and.
Like, because so much of those early seasons is Mark cutting about the office with Jeff and Sophie.
They do it perfectly though, because like I'll take that because they get to have that episode where Jeremy goes to work for JLB for a morning and then it closes down.
And it was like that's JLB, they're going down to the Crown.
And he fits in better than Mark ever has in like
5
however years. That's enough for them to like throw JLB away.
It is.
Welcome to the Peep Show podcast.
Also, the reasoning was like the Sophie plot's over, so he just
and the Dobby plot ended as well. So
well, the Dobby plot was sort of in the middle of that, but it was like it would be Mark moping about work.
Well, did Dobby not work? She was like a temp or like a IT specialist that came in and out.
She didn't necessarily work for JLB though.
A contractor kind of. Yeah. Anyone else you'd like to see play the Doctor? Olivia Colman, like.
Yeah.
Olivia Colman should have probably been the Doctor this. I know she's too busy to
I
ever
think she's too big.
be tied down.
She's too big to play the Doctor, but there was maybe a point like if they had done a female Doc like 3-4 years ago, very much Olivia Colman would have auditioned.
Well, she's like a Chibnall person because she's like a broad church. So
I think she's playing like the Queen in the Crown.
Is she? You keep telling me that, but I can never retain that information. That's cool. Did you? Was it? What's her face? Is that a different show that Clara was in?
She plays Queen Victoria.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
She's also currently playing like there's some drama on BBC One where like a kid goes missing.
Doctor Who ends, and then there's a trailer with Clara front and center, and it's like, no, BBC, what are you doing to us? You promised, never again. Oh, anyone else?
I feel like Capaldi like showed up to give Jenna Coleman an award or something.
I saw that. It was weird. He's just about places.
Invite Capaldi and he'll show up.
I don't know if they're making Paddington 3, but he was in Paddington 1 and 2.
I feel like I always see things on like Instagram or Twitter or whatever where like someone sends like a fan letter to Capaldi and then he writes back with like this amazing like he writes like as the Doctor when he's like responsible.
I was very, very jealous of one of my. We should talk about Stan Lee dying. Stan Lee died. One of the Transformers people that I follow on Twitter sent a letter to the Amazing Spider-Man. The letters pages in comics. He got it into 700, so he's got a letter in 700, and those letters were answered by Stan Lee. So you got a letter answered by Stan Lee. So I was incredibly. Yeah.
Not that that's attainable now, sadly. Excelsior.
And
did you see like it went viral? But did you see that like one Stan's soapbox like column that was about like from the 1960s about like how horrible racism was?
He was being quite vague in it, but it was mostly like fight that fight.
It wasn't really being that vague.
Not that vague, but it wasn't just like fight racist. It wasn't Captain America punching a Nazi on cover 1.
It's very much like be taller.
I don't know. I don't know if this is the place to have it, but like I'm very much a Jack Kirby man.
Yeah.
Like it's hard. Like I like.
Well, I love Stan Lee.
You can totally separate Stan Lee.
Yeah, Stan Lee is not a perfect man.
You can separate Stan Lee, the character, from Stan Lee the man, basically, and that's probably a dangerous thing to be saying about a real person. But like he was very much like Stan Lee, and not like the man that gypped like Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko out of rights and money and like.
Stan Lee's genius was that he was able to like write plots for all he.
Well, he didn't write the plot. He wrote the words that they.
Well, so what Stan Lee generally did, I think it's now accepted, is he would give a vague outline to the artist. Sometimes down the phone, is my understanding.
Well, I imagine you just told Jack Kirby to write a comic that week.
Yeah, and then.
We need a Spider-Man. We don't need
he always created characters with artists who he knew were talented enough to basically be able to do all the work outside of the initial idea.
I think that a lot of his like dialogue and bluster is a huge part of those comics. And,
like, yeah, absolutely. Like, his dialogue is fantastic. Like he's got like a knack for dialogue, where like you really feel like rise up. Like, that's his knack. Like he does that so well. Like he takes those characters to like a really like not like a low point, but like he puts them in various positions where he has to like
Spider-Man lifting that heavy stuff while drowning. Yeah.
And it's the way he writes it. Like he's got like a scout. It's like I need to. Yeah.
Stan Lee's been old since I was born.
Stan Lee did write all the dialogue.
Yes, probably, maybe, mostly.
Not for that long. It was like 10 years or whatever.
It was a huge time. It wasn't like the
Silver Age of comics.
The publisher and
all those characters.
There's a biography of Jack Kirby comic that I read on Instagram that does not paint young man like Stan Lee, pre-Marvel Stan Lee in any kind of good light.
He was writing comics. He was like editing comics for like a really like boring publisher.
They did a lot of love comics.
Love and detective comics, because like you weren't really like it was the era where like you weren't really like violence.
Well, the Comics Code and stuff, and there was a whole like superheroes are turning our children gay.
Yeah. Like, also like. Marvel or Timely were really struggling against DC because DC had came up with the idea that we were going to team their characters up together.
That Justice League.
And then
they had that in the 30s. That's like a cyclical thing.
I know, but that's literally why Stan Lee wrote the Fantastic Four, because he needed a team-up team.
I'm just eating jalapeno. Should review these. These are fantastic.
They are. They're really good. They've got like a red dust on them. I used to like a green dust if they were jalapeno, but they're brown coloured.
As I approach 30,
they've got a nice spice to them.
3 decades of life, I have realised that I bloody love jalapenos. And it's I'll have them on anything. Halagood.
Also, look at the animation. It's got like a car. It's like
Mr. Pringles. I think I like Mr. Pringles more than I like the Monopoly Man. I was thinking about this the other day. Mr. Monopoly.
They do look quite similar.
They do look quite similar. Mr. Monopoly is probably like a safer bet. You know, he could probably take care of me, but I think I'd have a more of a fun time with Mr. Pringles. Like, look at that moustache. Look at that kind of like the tufts of hair.
His bow tie.
He'll tell me all about his barbershop quartet.
Bow ties are cool.
Bow ties are cool. Does the Doctor wear like suspenders? Has she got like?
She does, yeah.
It's like because the second Doctor also has them, so he's such like a nexus of new Doctor costumes and ideas and. I don't know if we're done. We might be done. Do you have any other like fan castings of the Doctor? Because I had like more, but always come back to like.
I think I've done my major ones.
I should probably get better listener questions next week. I kind of forgot because we put this off till Thursday, and I just say I'll swing it. This episode.
I enjoyed it. It was like an 8 out of 10 episode.
I've got a problem when people like praise things, and I'm like, oh, it's not that good. It's not 8 out of 10 good. What are you saying? It was still quite bad. Don't worry about it. That's just the Casio. It's fine.
Not 8 out of 10 cats.
It's not 8 out of 10 cats, which still does Countdown, I believe. It's a good show. 8 out of 10 cats does Countdown is doing great work.
Do they do original 8 out of 10 cats anymore?
I don't know and don't care. I've never cared about 8 out of 10 cats. Well, maybe in 2005?
Yeah, 2004. That was a good time.
2007's Preak Mock the Week time.
Yeah, it was.
But, never really cared about 8 out of 10 cats. But 8 out of 10 cats does Countdown. It's fantastic. It's probably the same, it's exactly the same people. But it's like on for like 50 minutes. Like it's just a huge long, and it takes them like half an hour to actually start playing Countdown because you know they
I'm
do.
pretty sure 8 out of 10 Cats also takes like 50 minutes, but I could be wrong.
Probably, but like it works so well with the Countdown format, and like you can sit and play Countdown as well, like because Countdown's great. I'll sit and watch Countdown, and like
Yeah.
I can't spell, but I'll have a go at it. I'll get like a 4 or a 5 on a good day.
Round and,
Yes, but we always look away when they do the maths round, either in Countdown
that
or
maths round.
the math round is the absolute worst. Like, why is it in there? It's not. It's not. It's not a numbers show. Like, I know it is. I know half of it is, and it always has been.
It always has been.
But like,
it's called Countdown. It's not Word Down.
But it is Word Down. Word Down is the like. Do you think of the numbers round when you think of Countdown?
No, but it's an equally valid part. Of
I don't think it's
Countdown.
equally, but I think it's horrible. I think they could spin it off into
You
their own show.
cannot win Countdown unless you can do numbers.
I know. But make that a separate show. Like, I don't want to watch that. That's not even fun to watch. Because it's like, alright, numbers. And then a man does it.
I mean, if you're making it, they don't have a numbers corner. They have a dictionary corner.
Exactly. And also, it's like letters in the title card. I know they've got a clock, and the most famous thing about it is the clock.
The vibe that I really like about Countdown is that the winner stays on.
Yes,
like,
the championship. I'm a big fan of Street Countdown from the IT Crowd. Where it's just,
and the fact that Countdown has literally been on since 1982. Literally. 1982.
That's pretty good.
It was the very first show on Channel 4.
Really? Didn't know that. I don't know much about Channel 4's history. I know they've showed anime at some point in their history.
The ident into it was like, as the countdown to a new channel ends,
right.
a new type of countdown begins.
Oh,
they had like a 10-minute intro to what Channel 4 was going to be, and then they cut to.
When did Channel 4 start?
Like 1982.
1982. Well, actually, you just told me when it started. I was watching Mr. Bean the other day, and he was flipping his channels on his TV, and he only had 3 channels, and that was like 95 or whatever. It was a good joke, but I was like, that doesn't. They had more channels by then.
They had 4 channels.
Yeah.
Well, more if you could get.
Yeah. Like, because the whole thing was you couldn't get Channel 5 from certain places.
Channel 5 didn't launch until 97.
It didn't launch until 97, but also even when it had launched, it was one of those channels
that
that
bad reception.
Bad reception, because it was those days, children. I know you won't understand this with your built-in iPods and iPods.
We had bad reception on Channel 4, and we didn't get Channel 5.
Oh.
Channel 4 had like a fuzz where we were.
Our channels,
I remember the first time I went to Not My House and realised that Channel 4 had good signal, and I couldn't handle it.
I have a great story like that. I went to a friend's house, or a family friend's house, and I steal some more jalapenos if I can. And they had like a den. It was like a gazebo or something. It was like it wasn't the living room, but it was a living room. Like it was off to the side. It was a wee house. And they had like a TV in it, and I was talking to the kid who was there. I don't know if he was a relative of mine. I genuinely can't remember. And he was like, "Oh, do you want to watch TV?" And I put the TV on, and Scooby-Doo was on, right? And I was like, "Yeah, Scooby-Doo's on." And then I was like, "What's on after it?" He was like, "Scooby-Doo." And I was like, "What?" And then Scooby-Doo was on all day because it was either Cartoon Network or Boomerang, and probably Boomerang.
The first thing I found out Boomerang.
It was a Scooby-Doo marathon, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Scooby-Doo all day because
I've since then they probably had Sky before that, and I just didn't comprehend it. But at that point, I learned what Sky was, and it just blew my mind.
Absolutely.
I was like, "How is Scooby-Doo? I could sit here, or I will sit here all day and watch Scooby-Doo."
Sky Digital when it came out was game changing.
I don't think I've ever had Sky Digital. We still have Sky in the house, but I think it's still just Sky.
No, I guess they don't have.
We don't have any rewind capability.
I don't have any. No, I know, but they don't original Sky used to be analog.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
It wasn't digital.
I remember the analog switch off day. Sad time. I feel like I was Virgin 1 was a big thing around that time.
Yeah.
It showed lots of Chuck and Star Trek: The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. And I'd come home from the Games Workshop of a day and sit down and watch that. Can't remember what the last analog thing I watched was. I'm going to ruin a plot point for myself or a selling thing or an idea I have. What are people doing with the analog frequencies? Can we start an analog TV channel and then it's fine? Can we just broadcast on those frequencies?
They're being used for mobile phone.
Aye, but if we did it.
From what I understand, a lot of the part of the signal spectrum that was being used for analog TV went to 4G mobile devices.
But we could set up an analog transmitter though, couldn't we?
Again, if you had a lot of power, theoretically. No, because probably not, because it would probably be illegal.
Would it though? It's a thing that doesn't exist anymore.
No,
It's not
like you'll almost definitely need permission to run a transmitter.
Can we set up like a pirate like TV
I
channel?
mean, you could set up a pirate one, sure, but
We could do it, couldn't we? We could change the format of this podcast to a pirate. We could get an offshore platform. I know this is the start of all my plans.
can we get ham radioing?
Oh, I don't know if I could. I feel like that goes bad. I feel like that's one step away from like number stations.
That's what I was gonna say. We should start a low power station, number station.
Just crank out the numbers.
What's the buzzer up to these days?
What is the buzzer up to these days?
I don't know. I mean, it'll presumably still be buzzing.
I was watching the Forgotten.
There was like major things because like they changed where the buzzer was being broadcast from in like 2010.
Right.
And then because literally for like the buzzer hadn't had any incursions on it for like 5 years.
Right.
And then
Putin got active.
And then around 2010, they moved where the buzzer broadcasting from, and they started doing a lot more broadcast from the buzzer. And there's like a few times where it looked like they weren't intending to be broadcasting, and it was just like a hot mic or something.
Right. Oh gosh.
The buzzer is terrifying.
Yeah. There's a
it's
film.
Not, from what I understand, it's not. It is just like a Russian spy.
Yeah.
It's not like gloriously interesting. Like it's not like some.
They've cashed in on it though. There's a film called The Number Station.
Oh yeah.
And it stars, I think it's John Cusack. I saw it after, it was on like 5 Star or like 5 Spike. You know how Channel 5 has loads of like digital channels?
Yeah.
I was watching the forgotten Will Smith film, The Enemy of the State, which I deeply recommend. It's actually a good time. And then after that, there was just a film called The Number Station, and I had a wee like info of it, and it was just like John Cusack stars, and it didn't sound anything like a number station, but it was called.
I'm pretty sure like when like people like found out where the original broadcasting point of the buzzer was, and like they went into and it was like a Russian military facility.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh god. It's a bit terrifying. How did they get into this Russian military facility?
Because it had been abandoned.
Oh, right.
Urban explorers.
Oh god, I wouldn't do that.
No.
Even if I was an urban explorer, that's just not going to happen.
As we all know, Russian people are insane and just like
I mean,
fight buildings.
I suppose they would be Russian people themselves, wouldn't they? They should do a Doctor Who about number stations. Like that's.
We have. Why haven't they?
Like, get Gatis involved. You could probably crank out something about that. Involve the Autons somehow. I say that about everything.
So.
How hasn't there been like that? I know there was huge Auton work with Rory, but there's not been an Auton episode. See when you walk past mannequins in shops and you know how they're like new and they're cool and they're stylized, and you look at them and you're like, how haven't they done stuff with this?
I know.
Like they're all kind of like angular, stylized. This could be terrifying. Do a horror episode. Do like a zombie thing set in a shopping centre, but it's Autons. Doesn't that write itself?
It does. You'd think someone would have.
And then all the dads would be like, oh yes, the Autons. Shepherds from space.
Or Spearhead from space.
Spearhead from space with that John Pertwee.
It was 1970.
And the hands went.
I was 7 years old.
7 years old. Better times. Pre-Brexit. Oh
We
yeah.
went in the European Union.
Lemmy, our favourite Scottish man, had incredible content after Deamons of the Punjab. He posted a picture of himself with the old man like app. You know how he keeps doing that.
Not my Doctor Who.
Not my Doctor Who. He says like I've been a lifelong Doctor Who fan until tonight or whatever. I retweeted that. Shouldn't have because my feed for this entire week my notifications have just been half of the people saying that this is a racist post. This man is racist. He's clearly racist. And then the other half are Lemmy fans that love him and get it, and they just get in there and they agree with the people and they're like, oh yes, he's quite right. He should be banned. He should be banned from Twitter.
I love it when Lemmy does the face-aged Lemmy. Like,
He did it again today for the Brexit chat. He does good work.
Great work.
We should probably finish up. How long have we gone?
90 minutes, which is our podcast length.
Yeah.
Call that a podcast.
I feel like I was struggling there, but we got some like good bants at the end. What's next? We should do like a next week thing to get people coming back.
So there's a thing called Kerblam, and it looks like Space Amazons.
Is it called Kablam? And that'll be like the name of the.
Yeah. It looks very RTD-ish.
Yeah. Who's it written by? Is it Chibnall or is it someone else?
No, it's someone else. I don't know who.
Oh. I am very because I've been going in blind because I've not known what every episode is until the next time trailer. The second Space Amazon happened, I was like, yes, Space Amazon. It might not even be Space Amazon. I've not even looked up on it more than that trailer. But the second it happened, I was like super excited.
Yeah, that's coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, it's almost here because of the.
3 days from now.
We'll see you in the podcast like 12 days from now or something.
Yeah.
What's because we know there's a witch hunter episode coming up,
Yeah.
and there is only 3 episodes left, isn't there? Because
there's 3 episodes.
So
7, 8. No, there might be 4. 7, 8, 9, and 10.
yeah, 4 episodes left. So Space Amazon and Witch Hunters are definitely one.
No, actually, I think it is. I think there's 3 episodes left.
Yeah.
I think there's 3 episodes left.
I think we're into judging the series territory of like we've given it at least most of the season.
Yeah, well,
and it's not that great.
It's just not got there was more of an arc to it. Like,
I don't necessarily need the arc because they're doing standalone stuff and they're trying to be popular and it's just jump in whenever.
The thing is, I'd agree with that if they were actually doing that, but no, because the Stenza appeared.
The Stenza appear and the Stenza will appear again unless they don't. I was saying that the vampire.
And the thing is, they haven't done enough, so people here are going to get confused because they're going to be like.
Well, look, that was their setup, and they'll have an episode. Maybe it'll be the finale, and they'll be like harassing modern day shit. Like the Stenza will invade modern day Sheffield. It's like, oh, you wronged our champion, and now we've come to defeat you. And the Doctor will have to give a speech on top of a Sheffield building, a la Pandorica. But I hope it's not modern day. I really like Eccleston's last episode where it's just in space and like you cut back to Earth a little bit to do the characters, but it doesn't really connect to like modern
day
London.
It has that great bit where they do like because they need to like they get the car to try and
they
pull
get
up
the
TARDIS.
Yeah, and like Jackie comes round because like Jackie's arc in that season is like you can't swan off with this 40-year-old man, and like it's like no, you don't understand. He's a cool guy. Gotta save the world. And she's like, all right, and she knows someone. Because she's Jackie. Yeah. And like they go get that big van.
I love the writing of that family. It was really good.
Yeah, it was really. You should go to Big, like I say every week. There should be a public service announcement for Big Finish. But Jackie has an episode called "Flight into Hull." I want to say, like someone described it as like a hug from 2006.
Nice.
Like we should really get into that.
We should.
What, like I was saying, joking about Primeval off season, but we should do like Big Finish off season stuff until. We come back in 2 years for more Doctor. Has there been any more on that?
2019, it seems like.
No, because good God, it'll be Raiders and Beans and Brexit next year.
God.
Like it's just going to be a year of hell, which is a Doctor Who thing. But
should we call it podcast?
Yes, happy Brexit, everyone.
Happy Brexit.
Happy Brexit. Bye.